Here's Burrow with the guys at Pardon My Take on two issues. One, well, I don't know how far this goes. So if it doesn't go all the way, we'll supply it on the back end. This is, I know, about how he can restructure his contract to help create cap space for the Bengals. Here it is.
You could convert some of the money to a signing bonus, which will lower the cap hit. Mm-hmm. You can push some of the money to the back end of the contract, and then when you get to that lowers the cap hit, and then when you get to the back end of the contract, you can restructure it and convert it to a signing bonus.
Okay.
And then you can also just take less money. The Eagles are paying everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that seems like the way, whatever they're doing.
Whatever they're doing, let's copy it.
I'll have what they're having. I want to say one thing. His explanation about how to reduce his cap number, and I'm not going to name names, but there are people who cover football for a living who acted like this was some revelation carved onto stone tablets that no one had ever considered before. Of course, that's how you deal with someone's cap number. Those are the options. A lump sum payment that is spread over the years through the conversion of salary into a bonus, or taking money today and moving it to future years, or just taking less money. What the hell do people think it means to reduce your cap number? You have less dollars associated with your name. It's just amazing to me that people who cover the sport acted like they've just had this epiphany about how the salary cap works. It's not complicated, as proven by the fact that I understand it.
Yeah, no, that's laughable. I'm not exactly sure who you were referring to, but yeah, that's one that I think we've known about. And if you're paying attention to the sport, yeah, we've been watching Drew Brees, Tom Brady, quarterbacks for the last, Ben Roethlisberger, all do that type of stuff over the last 15 years. So yeah, that's nothing new. And Joe Burrow. I mean, it tells you where he's at. Joe Burrow does not. I don't think he's one that's going to be scared to speak his mind, say these things to the Bengals ownership and the front office. Do that. And yeah, he's going to look at the Eagles. And the Eagles, again, too, though, are a team that they get out in front of it. They get out in front of everything by about a year. So that does help them. They usually go, wait, this guy's good. Let's not be the Cowboys and drag our feet. So now he has all the leverage later and can ask for $10 more million than we would want to give him. Let's just give it to him now. And that's what's been special. So they've drafted it phenomenally. They've gotten free agents phenomenally. And then they figure out, oh, wait, this guy is going to be good for a while. Let's get out in front of this contract now and give him the money. Like they did with Landon Dickerson last year. They did it with Devontae Smith before he was ready, right? They got it done with A.J. Brown before they won the Super Bowl and all that, so it wouldn't be like some astronomical. They're always that, and that's what we're seeing. The Bengals have a little bit of that drag the foot mentality, and that's just not the way to operate in the NFL right now.
And there is a huge difference between cap space and cash. And finagling the cap, look, they're currently expected to have $49 million in cap space for 2025. And I laid out in an item at PFT yesterday how they could go about taking Joe Burrow's salary this year and dropping his cap number down. And I did the math and the numbers here. They can create almost $20 million in cap space by just a simple restructuring where he doesn't give up a penny, doesn't defer a dollar to a future year. That gets him up to $68 million in cap space. And if they re-sign or extend, more accurately, the contract of Jamar Chase, his cap number for next year of $21.8 million under his fifth-year option, that'll go down too. That number is going to go down in the early years of a long-term extension. You're going to have to pay the price on the back end, but that's the way it works. So the cap space is easy. Any smart team can come up with cap space. The question is, are you willing to cut the checks? Or is your attitude, and the best example, Chris, Jesse Bates and Dax Hill. Jesse Bates got franchise tagged. And the same year, they used a first-round pick on his replacement.
Right.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
They think it's this gets back to the whole interchangeable parts metaphor I always use. We're going to change out the part, and this part's too expensive. It's too expensive. And it's demanding more oil than we're willing to put on the part. so we can get a cheap part. We can get a young part. And we'll just replace him that way. That's fine if the new part works. If the new part doesn't work, you're screwed. That's what happened to the Bengals. They did it with Joe Mixon. They were going to cut him until the Texans came in and traded for him and gave him a raise. They think that you can, and it's a dollar-for-dollar analysis. This all flows up to Mike Brown. How much does this player cost? How good is he? How much does this player cost? How good is he? Well, he's not as good, but dollar for dollar. So, and this, Chris, this is where this is heading. And Bengals fans are going to get mad at me, but I don't care. You can get mad at me talking about the thing that scares you the most, or you can join in Joe Burrow's chorus of break out the piggy bank and let's pay people. Carson Palmer, years after he quit on the Bengals and was eventually traded. If the most important thing is the financials and the second most important thing is winning, you don't have a chance. And it's important that ownership is willing to do what it takes to win. That's him explaining why he quit on the Bengals. Because winning wasn't the most important thing. The financials were, and winning was secondary to it. And the evidence, as currently available, based on how they handled Chase and Higgins and Hendrickson, it suggests that the financials are still more important than winning. And if they don't change that, Joe Burrow is going to want out at some point, too. I don't know that, but I predict that.
Yeah, he would certainly be the guy that's got the guts to do that. I mean, I don't doubt that. And, yeah, they got to be careful here. When you got a guy like Joe Burrow, and we all see it, and it's undeniable, that's what happens when you have a great franchise quarterback, is it puts the spotlight on everybody else in the franchise because you're like, wait. You got the guy. What are you guys doing here right now? Why aren't you setting this up for him? And that's, yeah, they got to figure it out. But, yeah, it's the unspoken advantage in football. Cash in hand, right? We've talked about it before. I know. It's the dirty little secret of, hey, some owners got more cash and stuff to pay guys certain different structures of contract that are more favorable to the player than other teams, and that's an advantage. The Bengals certainly seem like they're the team that doesn't have that advantage. They're not that way. But it's going to get to a point if they don't watch out where, yeah, they're going to frustrate Joe Burrow and company. And, yeah, he's looking at teams going, look at some of these teams and look at what they're paying players, and that's why they're so damn good. And we're trying to, get rid of proven commodities for the cheaper version. And it's going to be hard to compete with teams like the Eagles and the Ravens and all of that when you're worried about money. And I feel like Steve Bisciotti in Baltimore and Jeffrey Lurie in Philadelphia and Stan Kroenke in L.A. Who else am I missing here? They're not afraid to spend big bucks on players and teams and be that every year. And of course, I don't think Washington's going to be scared here with the new ownership. And that's where the Bengals are not with the big boys in that conversation.
I think the Walmart heirs in Denver.
Oh, them too. Exactly. Thank you.
A ton of money too.
Exactly.
Because they can. They are far and away the richest group in the NFL. Far and away. It's ridiculous how much more they have than everyone else. Quick before we break, Dan Horde, who does the play-by-play on radio for the Cincinnati Bengals, very nice gentleman. Ran into him at Radio Row.
Yeah.
He interviewed me for a little bit, and they won't let go this notion, and he was respectful about it. They won't let go of this notion that I just made up that Joe Burrow would have refused to play for the Bengals when he was drafted if he wasn't from Ohio. Folks, that's true. You can not believe it if you want. It's true. If he was from Athens, Georgia, and not Athens, Ohio, he would have told the Bengals to pound sand or salt or whatever the right term is. He wouldn't have played for them. He gave them a chance, and they took care of him on the contract, but look, I don't know if he's going to run out of patience, but I think what he's doing, because he's talked about it twice now, he's putting pressure on the Bengals to show that they're willing to change. And if they're not, they're going to have a problem. I believe. I don't know, but I believe. I do know he would have told the Bengals no thanks in 2020 if he wasn't from Ohio. It's a fact. You can get mad about it. You can call me a liar. I don't care. It's still a fact. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.